In this video, we will cover two screens: the Deferred Comp Plan Codes table and the Benefit Eligibility Rules table. First up is the Deferred Comp Plan Codes table. As I'm sure you know, federal guidelines impose specific limits on benefit plan contributions that result in deferred compensation. Deferred Comp Plan Codes define deferred compensation plans such as 401k and 403b and associate limit information as established by regulatory guidelines. First thing we're going to do on this is we're going to create a new record and then enter our 10-character code and then our description. Most of the time, these will be defined and updated by the system automatically on an annual basis. In the event you need to manually add a deferred comp plan code, we will look at the fields in the Deferral Limit Information section. Deferral Contributions is the total annual employee's contribution allowed for the code you're creating. In the Total Contributions field, you will add the total contribution amount for the code you are creating. In other words, take the maximum amount an employee can contribute and add it to the maximum amount the employer can contribute. The sum of those two numbers will be the value you enter into the total contributions field. The max percent match is the maximum employer match. Enter a whole number for the percentage. For example, 6% would be entered as 6.0, not 0.06. Deferral compensation is an optional field where you can enter the maximum earnings that the plan is calculated against in the deferral compensation field. The deferral compensation entry will not impact any calculations when standard system payroll accumulators are used. A custom accumulator may be developed to include this limit for a particular deduction. Finally, for the Deferred Comp Plan Codes table, if this code will be used for a plan or deduction that complies with the federal specifications for a qualified retirement plan, select the W-2 retirement plan checkbox. Let's take a look at the Benefit Eligibility Rules table. During self-service benefit enrollment, benefit eligibility rules are used to help calculate the benefit coverage begin date and payroll begin date for deductions and applicable imputed income changes for approved enrollments. Benefit eligibility rules define the qualifications for receiving a specific benefit according to an organization's benefit plan rules. These rules are used for reporting and limit plan availability through employee self-service benefit enrollments. Two standard benefit eligibility rules impact the employee new hire wizard's benefit service date and probation date. The benefit service date controls the calculation used to auto-populate the benefit service date in the employee's new hire wizard, and probation date controls the calculation used to auto-populate the probation date in the employee new hire wizard. Now that we have those out of the way, let's go through this table field by field. As usual, enter your code and description. Eligibility information is informational-only. If a minimum age must be attained before the employee becomes eligible for the benefit, enter the minimum age required. If employees are required to work a certain number of hours to be eligible under the eligibility rule, enter the number of hours as the minimum hours worked. If employees must earn a minimum salary to be eligible, enter the dollar amount as the minimum annual salary. If there is a maximum annual salary that an employee can earn for the benefit rule you are creating, enter the maximum salary eligible as the maximum annual salary. Require all of these benefits is used to define multiple requirements where every plan and coverage combination listed here is required for eligibility. Up to 3 benefit codes and coverages can be defined as required to be eligible under a particular eligibility rule. The benefit plan dropdown gets its data from the benefit codes table, and the coverage dropdown gets its data from the coverage codes table. An instance where this would be handy is if an employee wants life insurance but must have medical and dental coverage, we would select a benefit code of medical and a coverage code of EE and a dental benefit and EE coverage. Require any of these benefits works just like require all of these benefits. It gets its data from the same place. The only difference is the rule will require at least one of these options, not all of them. Benefit coverage eligibility. Select which date to use as the basis for determining date the employee will be eligible seen in the coverage starts section in the employee master. Use original hire date, the date the employee was first hired. Use adjusted hire date, may be recorded during new hire or rehire. Use rehire date for employees who have been rehired, and use benefit service date to use the employee's defined benefit service date. In the coverage start section, we will define the time frame for when the benefit coverage is available. Select the days or months option to define the unit for the character field on the left. An example would be if your company made benefits available after a 90-day probationary period, we would click here on first day after service of, enter 90 in this field, and then select days. Define the rules for when deduction/earning processing should begin for the benefit. The payroll processing rule applies in comparison with the coverage start date. The begin payroll processing section works like the coverage stats section we just covered. Enter a number and then select the unit of time for that number.